Nobody, who is in the thumbnail tonight. So shout out to Nobody if you're in the chat right now still. I saw you in here earlier. But Nobody released a video called FBI Quietly Released New GamerGate Files. And if you are not familiar with Nobody, let me share this link with the chat here real quick. If you enjoyed this video, give them a sub, give it a like. Don't just sub if you're not going to watch them. But to me, this is a channel that is going to go places. And I've been saying it since day one. It's a very talented channel. And it's one of the channels that I look forward to whenever a new video gets posted. Nobody, who has currently 1.28 thousand subscribers, and this has 52 likes and 279 views from 2 days ago. So
we're just gonna jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because here are things you are gonna see. You will see 4chan, you will see 8chan, and if I dig even a little bit digger, I'll probably find Chris-chan. I also bet you guys want to know where I've been, and I promise I've been working on shit that will blow your mind.
FBI female body inspector headline: Will she ever fix her audio? Subject: Alyssa Mercante. Alias: The Muffled Menace, Echo Warrior. Description: Suspect is a former Kotaku writer known for her fiery online presence and audio that sounds like she's broadcasting from a potato. Last seen wearing a nose ring, sporting questionable tattoos, and typing furiously on X, where she's been roasted for everything from her audio fails to her tough girl act, known to leave a trail of distorted sound waves and deleted tweets at every scene. Well said. Well said.
Mind. But that's for another day. And while you wait for those, you should hit the like and subscribe button just in case they find me. Now, I know I found these reports. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, I had to pull off all the hacking tricks in all the books. I had to comb through the data.
Oh, look at that. We got a Spaceballs reference. Automatic thumbs up for that.
But then it came across my desk, and I was speechless. And I totally wasn't working on another project and ended up going to the FBI archive website, saw them post GamerGate Part 2 and 3 on April 2nd of 2025.
Which, by the way, just full spoiler alert for this video, is the GamerGate files are a bunch of nonsense and a lot of redacted information, like all this stuff is. But I think the most interesting thing is that there is FBI records for GamerGate, which is wild in its own right.
Reports from 2014 to 2015, now some documents from 2012. I bet that it's a fairly simple answer, because the only reason, as far as my research can conclude, is that there was more than likely a FOIA request or a Freedom of Information Act request, because that seems to be the only reason why we got the first FBI report in 2017. There are a few documents that stick out, and I did read every single one of these documents, and they are highly redacted and full of handwritten FBI notes.
Which, by the way, shout out to Nobody for this video, because I trust him. And he says, I read every single one of these documents. Bro, there's not enough coffee in the world to keep me awake for these documents. I don't know how you did that. But shout out to you for saving everyone else the time.
By the way, to the G-men who wrote these reports, please take a penmanship class for my sanity. Sorry, since my last video, you might understand why reading has become a hassle. Now on to the documents that I would like to highlight. Now this document, that is highly redacted as well, does give me a little bit of pause. This may be the only FBI complaint that makes me speculate that...
No, he doesn't do coke. That's a joke. That's salt. Allegedly.
They are referring to Anita Sarkeesian. Like, this is a complaint against her. And what's more interesting is that it was filed back in 2012. Let's go through the complaint real quick, and you can make what you will of it. So first off, this is the complaint form, and there's a complaint ID. I'm not reading that out.
Nobody says it was actually pretty easy to read. Everything was redacted, I guess, but just going through them and going through each one and seeing, it's like, God, like how many pages of that? What a mess.
It basically gives, basic information here.
Turn up. So can you not hear him? Okay, I'll turn him up. Max volume.
So whenever you see gender and you see the letter U, it means unknown. The whole trans thing hadn't happened really yet. It was kind of its early stages. Live in city limits. Now, the closest that I could get to this is depending on reporting, but a lot of this did come the California office of the FBI. Is the complaint you're filing related to the internet online service? Yes. Do you have pertinent documents in paper form? No. So then, information about the individual or business that victimized you. And everything redacted, gender, female. Now, here's the description of the incident. It
So
says,
this is where
describe
it
in your
gets
own words
interesting.
how you've been victimized. Now, you actually see a lot of these
How have you been victimized? These are always classic.
where people either were victimized but weren't, but are reporting. It was a whole thing. I personally have not lost anything, but around 7,000 people have been scammed by this woman. She put up a redacted. She was supposed to.
So this is allegedly about Anita Sarkeesian, supposedly, and what she was doing to grift off of all this.
Redacted. However, she has yet to do so. The last time she updated anything was back in August, and I fear that she may have run off with the money. She received blank. 4 months is plenty enough time for me to do research. I blank, or nope, that's not I. Blank. But there has been nothing. It is very likely she scammed everyone that supported her. Please take justice upon her.
Yeah, either Anita Sarkeesian or Zoe Quinn, but I'm leaning towards Anita based off of the donations and the fundraising.
Now, this could potentially be referring to Anita not following up on the promises she made to create certain projects. She says that she did, and one could say that she did, but with the amount of content that came from those donations and the quality of content that released, some might call misleading, in my humble opinion. But this does seem to align time-wise with her Kickstarter in 2012. Now, the next document is handwritten and also redacted. And this is written by an FBI agent, it seems. We pulled advertising from those blogs because us supporting blank. We are big into supporting diversity.
So this was written by an FBI agent, you said?
CEO sat down with blank, took personal attention, took stand on support, October 2014. At Las Vegas convention, CEO announced 300K pledge. Not quite sure that what they were pledging to, but I'm guessing some sort of investment in diversity. I'm not sure if the agent actually sat
Nobody says this was so hard to read out loud. I honestly should have typed it out. This is fine, dude. You did fine.
down with the CEO or someone else is referring to a CEO. But it does seem that he does take note that there was funding pulled on certain blogs and that there was an announcement at a convention in Las Vegas. Now, the rest of these documents are
very
a lot
curious.
of real harassment and death threats.
So this is like actual death threats, like that actually happened, that should be disavowed and condemned by everyone, no matter where you stand.
You'll see 4chan, 8chan, Twitter, and accusations of CP everywhere. GamerGate 1.0 was messy, and I know that after this, people way more qualified than myself will deep dive into these documents and be able to make connections that I don't see. And if you want to see the files for yourself, links are in the description down below. But what do I know? I'm just nobody.
Shout out to Nobody for another banger. I think it was fascinating that the FBI was involved with the original Gamergate. That was my biggest takeaway when this whole situation came up and I saw that these files were a thing. I'm like, there's no way I'm going through all that stuff. Like, yikes. But I was shocked that they were even involved with it in the first place. Then you see the complaints that happened and the sheer amount of money that exchanged hands for the original Gamergate. And it brings up far more questions than answers. And then it kind of just came and went, but never resolved. And that's why people look at Gamergate 2 as like, oh, there's another, war happening between these wokies and the chuds or whatever. But anybody that's been paying attention for anything longer than 2 or 3 months can realize that it's not really a Gamergate 2. It's a Gamergate that was just subdued for a few years. Mostly probably had something to do with COVID to make it go away for a while, especially. But then it ramped up towards the end of that, and now we see it for what it is. And it's like, no, it's not Gamergate 2. It's Gamergate never went away. It was never resolved. And the way it's going, it never will be, because gamers, I know this sounds cheesy to say, but gamers are the last stand. Because I think we look at this as something more than what the average person does. We look further into stuff. And when it starts affecting our pastime and what we love, that's when we look up from our computer screens and look around and be like, hold up, something ain't right here. And you start to research and start to find out that, oh, we see game developers conferences with Sweet Baby Inc. and Kim Belair, and how they are openly admitting that they want to control the narrative in games to push a message, where they literally said things along those lines that Master of the TDS and I covered just a couple nights ago. And when you hear them say it, you see how they think, and you're like, oh, okay, these are the people that we are actively actually fighting against. Like, this is a battle. It might not be a physical fight, but it is a fight of the minds. It's a fight of, I don't want you to indoctrinate our kids or mess up our games or inject ideologies. I just want the people that have a passion for making games, actual gamers, making the games and putting the games out there. And I think because of that, we see a massive rise in indies these days. And you see, anytime there's an indie game that's successful, you notice the Journal Mafia starts to think of reasons to knock that indie game down because it's against the message. And, oh, by the way, you shouldn't be able to be successful if you're not putting hundreds of millions of dollars into your games. You have to do that, because otherwise it destroys the entire propaganda of the Ubisofts of the world, where they're injecting ideologies in these games that are hundreds of millions of dollars, and nobody's buying those games. They'd rather go play Schedule 1. So putting that all together, they're losing this fight, and they're getting more and more, we'll say, violent. Again, not physically violent, but lashing out. We see lawsuits getting thrown around at people because, oh, my fifis were hurt. You really think that's the reason that Alyssa's suing me? Or could it more be she's trying to quiet someone down that has made quite an impact against the message that she fights for? Which one makes more sense to you guys? Think about that. I'll leave that there. But again, shout out to Nobody for another banger video. Check him out. Give him a sub. He's an up and coming YouTube star, and he's going to go places. Keep it up, buddy. You're crushing it, dude.